Hello, everyone. Welcome to Diego Knows. I'm Diego, and today we're going to talk about Sex and the City, the original show, okay, from the late 90s and the early 2000s, back when the show was good. I'm Diego, and I've seen every single episode of the show, so I know what I'm talking about. I also watched that piece of crap and just like that, thing that was on TV, and I already reviewed that. But I wanted to go back to the old episodes because I remember when the show was good. When I watched and just like crap, I didn't understand those characters. I didn't know what had happened to them. Like what were they doing? They all seemed out of character to me somehow. I know it was the same actors playing them, but they weren't written the same. They were doing things that they normally wouldn't do. So I try to remember as I try to struggle through it and just like crap. I was trying to remember what did I like about the show, the original show. What did I like about Sex and the City? Because I didn't like this show at all. I didn't understand these people. So I went back and started watching the old episodes, and then I found it. Like, okay, now I remember why I watched the show. Okay, nobody watches the entire an entire series, every episode of an entire series, unless they like it. Okay, like I know there's a lot of Walking Dead fans out there, and there's a lot of like Supernatural fans out there, and like shows that just ran on forever, like Star Trek or whatever. I never got into those shows, but I'm afraid to. I'm afraid because if I did, I would want to watch every episode. Okay, and I would get hooked. Okay, so once you watch the show for a long time, even when the show gets bad, you still stick to it because you remember when it was good. You kind of hope it'll get good again. So I can understand that, and that's kind of what Sex and the City is like for me. Just watching the old episodes, I remember how like they really had lightning in a bottle back then. Like they really understood these characters. And in the second season, the show got so much better because this was the second season that we started going into the mind of the men on the show. Okay, they weren't just like fuck them and get rid of them. New guy next episode. They started like the guys started sticking around. And that was very important because if these guys were going to stick around, I need to know why they were going to stick around. And I also needed, we kept hearing the female opinions amongst each other. Okay, one girl would say something to another girl, the other girl would respond to it in her way, or a different girl would respond to it in their way. But it was always girls bouncing ideas off of each other, never off of a guy. What would a guy say? If you present him with that situation, what would a guy do? So we finally start to get that in season 2, and that's why I stuck around with the show now. I remember now. That's why I kind of fell in love with the show, because finally we had some guys on the show acting like guys, and they weren't just disposed of, like all the other guys were in the first season. These guys actually stuck around, and the girls actually listened to what they were saying. So I thought that was kind of cool. All right. So this episode that we're going to review today, it is from the second season, episode 10, and the title of the episode is called "The Caste System." Now, this episode deals a lot with classism. All right, deals with like people that make more money than other people. All right, can they date each other? So this is it's one of those things that no one ever talks about, but it's so obvious. I mean, you notice that. Depending on where you go. Like different neighborhoods, different parts of the country, different types of people, with different economic prospects. It's so different, and a lot of our culture is divided amongst the classist system. People that make a lot of money tend to hang out with people that make a lot of money. People that don't have a lot of money hang out with people that don't have a lot of money. So it's there's no law saying they can't cross over, but we don't for some reason. So so this episode deals a lot with that stuff. Okay, to start off with, like I said, the episode is called "The Caste System." Okay, Carrie talks about how she loves New York, how everything's great for her there. That she can't bring herself to say, but she cannot bring herself to say "I love you" to Big. She wants to tell Big "I love you," but she hasn't said it yet because she knows that if she says it, that's a turning point in the relationship. And it really is. When you're dating somebody, and then you say that, that's like, okay, now the relationship is taking another level. Because now it needs to be said back. And what's the time limit for saying it back? Is it immediately? Is it when you feel like it? Is it never? Does it matter, or is it the only thing that matters? It all depends on the couple. So she's clearly in love with Big, and she wants to tell Big that. Although in this episode, I'd have some doubts as to how in love she is with him, but we'll get to that later. Okay, so she wants to say "I love you" to Big, and she clears a spot on his lip when he's eating. He's got some food on his lip there. And she cleans it for him, and he says thank you, and he eats some more, and then he gets another spot there again. She starts laughing about it like it's funny. Maybe it's funny. I don't think it's funny, but it's a girl show. Okay, like I said, I'm here to give you a straight man's point of view. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do here, and I don't bullshit here. I tell you the truth. Okay, so she took her whatever. Okay, so he took her to the ballet, and we don't see it, but we see them leaving the ballet, and he doesn't like the ballet, but I guess Carrie liked it, so he did it for her. Okay. And like I said, he hates the ballet. And Carrie's there. She stops him on the sidewalk at night where they're walking, and she's about to grab him and say, "I love you," but instead she just looks at him and she says, "I love your hair." And she grabs his hair, and starts playing with it, starts messing up his hair. you know, which okay. So I guess she chickened out at the last moment. But let me tell you something. From a guy's point of view, if we were in that situation, if I was big in that situation with Carrie, I wouldn't need her to tell me that she loved me. I would already know. Like her actions would have already telegraphed to me how her feelings for me. Just because she didn't say it verbally didn't mean she didn't say it non-verbally. Okay, a guy can pretty much tell. Okay, I'm sure women can too, but a guy can tell if a woman, likes him, doesn't like him, or is in love with him. You can tell. You can tell by the things that they do, even if they don't say it. You can tell. Whenever you see a chick flick or something, and there's you already know when the girl is in love with the guy in the movie before she ever says it. Okay, you can tell. Okay, it's her actions, what she's doing. She gave him something special. I mean, even I know that. I mean, I remember I was dating this one girl once, and she saw it in a movie. Okay, because I saw the movie too. But she gave me her garage door opener. Okay. And once she gave it to me, the first thing I thought about was that movie Singles. Okay, when Kira Sedgwick gave it to Matt Dillon's character in the movie Singles, which was a '90s movie, alternative rock movie from the '90s. It was a chick flick from the '90s, and I remember that. Kira Sedgwick gave it to someone. I think it was Matt Dillon. It might have been someone else. Anyway, it might have been Campbell Scott. I'm not sure. But anyway, someone gave someone a garage door opener, and that was like her way of saying I love you. So, because I remember I was dating a girl at the time, she did that to me too. She gave me her garage door opener. I didn't have the heart to tell her I saw it in a movie. I probably saw the same movie she saw. But yeah. So I just remember that. So there's nonverbal ways of communicating that. And if some girl did that, if she was struggling, and all of a sudden she says, "I love your," and then she grabbed my hair, "I love your hair," I'd know that she loved me. I already knew that. Okay, I would already know that. Right? It'd be pretty obvious. Okay. But what do I do with that information? Now there's the drama right there. Okay. So she says she loves her hair like that. Okay. He gets he gets her a present, which is like this. I guess it's like this sequence duck. It's a purse, but in the shape of a duck, and it's ugly as hell, and she fucking hates it. And she looks at it, and then she looks at him, and then she's like, "Oh, I love you." Like she accidentally blurted it out. So hey, Carrie obviously is not very good at relationships. Okay, this is we first meet her like this. Okay, she's just another girl who says she's looking for love, and she fucks a lot of guys. And she already said earlier she's only had like 2 relationships, and only one of them was like serious. So she's not like a relationship girl. She's the kind of girl that sleeps around. Okay, just like Candace Bushell did. Okay, she's just slept around with all these different people. Okay, and wrote about it. Okay. So she's kind of like that, okay? She's kind of like the Taylor Swift, but instead of writing, songs about her lays, she writes articles about them, So, so I don't think she's very good at relationships, okay? At boyfriend, girlfriend, or marriage, I don't think she really understands those things. She understands the concept of those, but she doesn't know how to do it, So this would be tough for her. For her to say to her boyfriend, "I love you," is like super tough, super difficult, when it's not really that difficult at all. In real life, if you feel that way, you just say it. It just comes out naturally, So, but for her, it's not natural to say that. She can feel it, but she doesn't know how to say it, express it. And for someone who's a writer, it should really be easy for her, but it's not. Okay, so Big says, "Well, you're welcome," and then he tells her, "I'll wait outside," blah blah, So he has to say it. So now she's not sure what to do because he didn't say "I love you" too, and so now of course she's got to talk to her girlfriends about it. So Samantha says, "Well, tell a man, you tell a man." She talks to her girlfriends, all 4 of them, and Samantha says, "Okay, well, you tell a man, I hate you, and you have some great sex, but you tell a man I love you, you never see him again." Well, how the hell was Samantha? Has Samantha ever been in love? Has she ever loved anybody? We know, like, we thought she loved James with his tiny penis, but apparently his tiny penis wasn't, or her love wasn't enough to save him from his tiny penis. So, so she doesn't really know what love is. So why is she giving advice on love? But I don't think Samantha knows what a relationship is. Honestly, I think she knows how to fuck. You know, she's had a lot of experience in that, but I don't know if she knows what a relationship is or how to go about one. You know, what the rules are. You know, so what the courtesies are, the customs, the traditions. She doesn't know what they are. But yeah, she gives advice on it. All right, so so you never see him again. So what do you care? You know, so what does she care? You know, Miranda's like, well, maybe he's trying to. Miranda's all like bright and bubbly. She's all like, well, maybe he's trying to find a way to tell you that he loves you too. And I'm like, what the fuck? Miranda? Is that the real Miranda? Is she acting like a woman here? Holy shit, no way. Really? Are you sure? Maybe I should. Maybe my glasses aren't working right. Is she acting like a girl? What happened to the fucking the dick cutting feminist? Where's all that? She's actually looking and acting and optimistic. Like her hair actually looks nice. Go figure. Miranda's hair looks nice. Whoa. What happened here? Somebody call Ripley. God damn. All right. So yeah, I had to do a double take. Okay, so Miranda and Steve, they go out to get pizza. Okay, and well, Miranda's made it whenever Steve wants to take her out to eat, she makes it a point to make sure they only go to places that he can afford because he's a bartender. Okay, he lives off of tips. Now, as a bartender, you can make a lot of money doing it. I know I did. Okay, you know, because I mean, it's all cash. You know, so you can make a lot of money bartending. So this thing about like, you know, the bartenders report depends on where you work. If you work in a good busy place, you're gonna make a lot of money. Okay, and you only have to claim like 10%. You know, for your taxes. So yeah, you can make a lot of money bartending. Okay, because I mean, it's cash. You know. So I've met some bartenders that do very, very well. Like I said, it all depends on where you work. If you're working at a busy place, you know, that's got a high clientele, you're gonna make a shitload of money. You know, I mean, I mean, like on a Saturday night for me, typically, like if I bartend on a Saturday night at the club that I used to work at, I'd probably walk out of there with 500, 600 bucks cash. Oh yeah, in one night, yeah, absolutely. And there's places, other places like high-end places, like these high-end titty bars and stuff, where you can walk out there with 1,000, you know, 2,000 maybe, you know. So it all depends on where you work, but yeah, you can make some money doing it. I think Steve probably makes a pretty good amount of money. Not as much as Miranda, because you know he didn't go to Harvard. You know he doesn't work for a law firm. You know in downtown New York. But you know I think he's okay. He's doing okay. You know, but he's not like destitute. But he's not like he can't afford a penthouse. He can't afford an apartment in a private apartment building. You know. So anyway, like Big has or something. So yeah, so she makes it a point not to embarrass him. I guess so. She only goes. They only eat at places that he can afford because he's old school. Okay, like me. Like the way we were raised is like if you ask the girl out, you pay for the date. You're the guy, you pay for the date. Like that goes without saying. Like it shouldn't be a conflict or a controversy. You know, you should know the guy pays for the date. You know, that's just the way I was raised. That's what I do. You know, and that's what he does. But Miranda makes a shitload more money. Now here's where we get to the classism part. Okay. Is it okay for a girl to make more money than a guy? Of course it is. Why would it not be? You know, if that's your money. If you're lucky enough to have a position where you make a lot more money than your spouse or your boyfriend, that's you. Okay, you did that yourself. That's your money. You earned it. You know. But how does society look at it? Well, I don't think how much society looks at it. How do women look at it? You know, women tend. If you go by now, like I could tell you this right now, women don't care. Okay, or you could tell me that. Oh, women don't care about the money. It's how good he fucks. It's how he treats her. It's how which okay, that's part of it. But let's face it, it's bullshit. Okay, you can tell me that all you fucking want. It doesn't change the fact that most women date guys that make more money than them. Okay, they do. Okay, it's always been that way. It has a lot to do with biology and a lot less to do with your preferences. Okay, it's always been that way. Okay, the male have always been the provider. Okay, it's cultural. Okay, it's instinct. Okay, you can't really get away from it. Okay, there's things that you have leeway on, but in general, women tend to date men that make more money than them. Okay, because men are typically, society tells us that we are supposed to make more money than the woman that we're with. Okay, that's just society's rule. I didn't make up those rules. I don't even fucking agree with those rules. Okay, I've dated plenty of women that made more money than me, and it didn't bother me at all. In fact, I kind of liked it too. Honestly, it feels good to go to a nice restaurant and she's paying for it. Okay, it feels good to go to Vegas and she's paying for it. Hell yeah, stay at the Bellagio. I ain't paying for it. you know, but so it all depends. It all depends. You know, women tend to go off of what the guy thinks. If a guy has a problem with her making more money, then that can be a problem. If the guy doesn't care, then it's not going to be a problem. If I'm dating a woman that makes more money than me, I don't mind if she buys me things. I'm not going to feel offended. As long as I know that I can do my share too. Like, she's not going to pay for everything. Like, I'll surprise her and I'll get tickets to a Cirque du Soleil or something like that. Or I'll pay for the dinner. If we go someplace nice. I can't afford to do it every single time. But I'll do it. I'm not some freeloader or anything either. So I do my share. So that's how it is. It's all about what the woman's willing to do. If she's willing to do it, yeah, go with it. Just accept. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. So it shouldn't be a problem. But apparently it's going to be a problem for Miranda because Steve doesn't make nearly as much money as she does. Well, I mean, she's Harvard educated. Of course she's going to make a shitload of money. She's a professional attorney, probably a shitty one, but that's what she is, Okay, so anyway, they're having pizza out there, and she says that she's got a business party to go to, and it's formal. So she asks him, "Do you have a suit?" And he's like, "Yeah, I got a suit." Later on, she goes back to his shitty apartment. He has a shithole apartment. He says he modeled it after the movie Taxi Driver. Well, actually, I looked at that apartment. I was like, oh my God, that looked like my apartment back then. Well, not back then, but when I was like 19, I had an apartment like that. Oh, God. And I had a black and white TV. Yeah, it was a long, long time ago. But yeah, my apartment probably looked about as good as his. Yeah, that was back when I was like 19, though. Hey, I've been on my own since I was 17. Okay, I had my own place when I was 17. Okay, it wasn't much, but it was mine. Okay, so that's kind of what I could afford back then. Okay, I wasn't even old enough to drink alcohol. All right, but I had my own place. I wasn't living with my parents. Okay, so yeah, I kind of related to that apartment. Okay, but she sees the suit that he's got. It's like a yellow suit, and it's corduroy. It looks like shit, and he's like, "What's wrong with corduroy?" She's like, "I can't even. We don't have enough time for me to tell you what's wrong with corduroy." So she wants her boyfriend Steve to go to this event with her, and she wants him to have a suit. So they're gonna go suit shopping. Okay, which means he's gonna have to buy a suit. Okay, so they go back to the Krabby Part. All right. Okay. So they have a discussion here. The girls all get together again, and they're getting their toenails done. They're at the Asian place where the Asian girls are doing their nails. So they're all four of them are talking to each other while they're getting their nails done, their toenails done. And of course, Charlotte. Okay, she pulls out her true colors here. Now, I've always said this before. The girl I'm most attracted to is Charlotte out of all four of them because to me she's the prettiest one, and she's the most girly girl one. Okay, which totally turns me on. However, the biggest problem I have with Charlotte is that she is such a fucking superficial bitch. Like, she won't even look at a guy if he doesn't make at least six figures. And even then, it'd have to be the high six figures. Okay, she's very, very snooty, very rich. I think she comes from a very rich family, and they only date rich people. Okay, so I think Charlotte's probably a trust fund kid because I don't know how much money you make working at a gallery, but it's probably not enough to pay for that apartment that she has. So since she lives alone, I'm guessing she's a trust fund kid, so she's already wealthy. All right, and she's only going to date someone who's wealthy. So if someone doesn't make as much money as she approves of, she's not even going to consider him. I always suspected that, but once I saw this episode, I realized that no, that's really I called it. That is the way she is. I mean, Carrie mentioned it in another episode before, like, the guy has got to be rich, and she's definitely that way. So she can't understand why Miranda would be dating a guy that lives off of tips. To her, it's like it's like dating scum. Like beneath your station, slumming it, basically. Charlotte thinks that Miranda is slumming it by dating this bartender. Like, oh God, how could you? So her real colors are coming out, which sucks because otherwise Charlotte's such a sweetheart. She's stupid as fuck, but she's a sweetheart, So she can understand that, and how can you be with someone who lives off of tips like that flabbergasts her. Carrie's like, well, rich men date rich, date semi-rich women all the time. I mean, look at me and Big. I don't make as much money as Big, So why is it a problem if if a man dates a woman who's making more money? So of course Miranda's like, oh, so I should be punished because I'm successful. Of course Miranda would say that. You know, So when single women have money, it's a problem. So I have to. I want to enjoy my success, not apologize for it. And no one's asking a woman to apologize for her financial success. If she's got it, that's hers by all means. It's yours. Do whatever you want with it. If a guy is intimidated by how much money a woman makes, he's gonna be intimidated by what she looks like. He's gonna be intimidated by everything about her. It's just another thing. A guy with confidence. A guy with confidence already knows that he's the shit. He doesn't need to prove. He doesn't need to show his ATM receipts. He doesn't need to show his his resume or anything. To win a woman over. Okay, he should. If a guy has confidence, he's got confidence. Okay, now it might be misguided confidence. Okay, but it's confidence. Whatever it takes for you to get through the day, to believe in yourself and get through the day. That's it. Not everyone's going to be someone's cup of tea, but you can't predict these things. You can predict attraction to some extent, but you're never really going to know, because you'll never really know someone until you get to know them, and you'll find out that the more people you get to know, the more you like them, the more people you like. It's weird how that works, okay, but it's true, and that's something you can't put a price tag on, I mean, some people will definitely do that. Okay. I think a lot of like social media and stuff is very elitist. It's very like, you got all these celebrities that tell you, hey, if you want to be like me, then you need to vote for this person, or you need to recycle this, or you need to do that, or you need to wear this mask on, or whatever, which is all bullshit. Okay. You're never going to be like them. Okay. They're saying that because they're talking down to you, because they look down at you, because they're up there and they're looking down on you. Okay. Telling you that you're beneath them. Okay. That's not the kind of relationship you want to have. Okay. There's enough people in this world that already believe in that, like Charlotte. Okay. We don't need any more like that. It doesn't help society, doesn't help anyone. All it does is build resentment. Do you ever wonder how governments were overthrown? You ever hear when the people rebelled up against the king and queen and all that kind of shit? Even Carrie in this episode, she even name drops Marie Antoinette. She calls Charlotte, okay, Marie Antoinette, I mean, that's how it happens. People rise up against the elitists. When the elitists start thinking that they're better than everybody else, they get a big dose of reality. Okay, that's how revolutions happen. That's how wars happen. That's how civil wars happen. So that's how things get taken down, get overthrown. Look at the Roman Empire. Okay, they had conquered most of the known world for 2,000 years, and then they got defeated. They thought they were going to live forever. It doesn't work that way. Everyone who's on top right now can always come down at any moment. Okay, so there's no point in worshiping someone because they have more than you financially. Okay, anyone can get taken down. Okay, we look back on things like like the stock market crash of 1929, and how that just ruined our economy for a while. Okay, but you know what also did? It brought down a lot of people that thought they were untouchable, a lot of people that thought they were better than everyone else. It brought them down to reality. That's how life works. Once people start thinking they're too big for their britches, reality gives you a big dose of reality. Okay, and you get put back where you belong. Okay, so that's why these things happen, I believe, anyway. So just because one person, thinks he's so good and hot one moment doesn't mean they're always going to stay there, Why do you think we like watching people, fall? Because it's like, oh, you deserved it. You had it coming, Like think Kevin Spacey or some shit, or Harvey Weinstein, Okay, anyway, so Carrie, so that happens. Okay, so Samantha starts dating some guy named Harvey. Harvey has a live-in servant named Sum Dim, who is super, she's like basically Mrs. Livingston from The Courtship of Eddie's Father. Yes, sir. Yes, Mr. Harvey. I do what you say. And then once Mr. Harvey's gone, she starts treating Samantha like a bitch. Get the fuck, you get out of here. I ain't gonna make nothing for you. So kicks her out of the bed, just treats her like total shit. So Samantha was kind of excited about dating a guy who had a servant. Now she's like, oh God, this fucking bitch. She's so two-faced, and she is. Okay, so anyway, Big and Carrie go on a date somewhere. Of course, Carrie's smoking like crazy, as always. And he's like, there's something I need to tell you. She's like, oh, he's gonna tell me he loves me. He's gonna tell me he loves me. He's like, that duck purse I got you, if you don't like it, you can take it back. well, Carrie doesn't like that too much. She doesn't like that. It kind of pisses her off. Meanwhile, Charlotte's working at the gallery, and I guess some celebrity, some fake movie star comes in named Wiley Ford. You know, he comes, but he acts like a celebrity. And of course, Charlotte recognizes him immediately. And he's walking through the gallery. And he's like, "How much for this piece?" And it's the fucking fire extinguisher. He's like, "That's not a piece of art. That's a fire extinguisher in case there's a fire." She's like, "But you can take it. You know, we can say it's a Jeff Koons." So basically, she gets all wet because a movie star walks into her gallery. A movie star, he's probably like a Josh Duhamel or some shit, you know, or whoever's hot right now, a fucking Henry Cavill or type, you know, guy comes in there. Okay, she gets all wet and excited. Oh God, you know, and of course she's all over him. And he, you know, when you've got that kind of game, when your sexual market value, the Leonardo DiCaprio comes into your fucking gallery. Oh yeah, all you gotta do is snap his fingers, and whoever he wants is gonna come into the car with him, and that's what happens. She jumps in the limo with this guy. They start making out immediately, you know, because I guess she's got some fantasy about fucking this guy. And I think they do end up fucking. But first, he stops. He tells the driver to stop. He gets out so he can take a piss on the sidewalk, on the wall. And meanwhile, while he's doing that, Charlotte calls Carrie to brag. "Oh my God, I've got Wiley Ford here, and we're gonna go fuck him. I'll talk to you afterwards. Bye." You know, that kind of thing. You know, and he keeps calling her Charlene. She's like, "It's Charlotte." Okay, what if you say Charlene? Whoa, yeah. Yeah, you know, what can I say about that? You know, I will say this, and I'm not gonna drop any names here. I am friend. There is a celebrity out there right now who I am friends with. Um, I'm not gonna tell you who it is, okay, but I am friends with him, and we worked on some projects together before in the past. And let me tell you something. When he walks into a room, yeah, the girls come on to him big time, big time. You know, so he's pretty much got his pick of who we want. I mean, married women, it is old women, it doesn't matter. They come on to him, you know. And when you've got that kind of a clout, yeah, you can pretty much do what you want and treat women like shit. He doesn't necessarily treat women like shit. He was actually engaged to a girl, to a woman who's also famous at the time when him and I were hanging out because we were working on a project together. But so he was faithful. No, he wasn't fucking around. Okay, but I just remember the attention he got. Like so much freaking attention he was getting from women, like all types of beautiful women. Like I said, old women, married women, young women, even lesbians were talking to him. You know, I mean, it's unbelievable. You know, when you've got that kind of clout. So I can totally see, you know, a movie star walking into Charlotte's gallery and just boom, you know, Niagara Falls down there immediately and just jumping on him. You know. Because guys like that can afford to do that. It doesn't make it right. It's not right. You know, I don't think anybody should be treated like shit, whether you're famous or not famous. But you know, people like that, you know, society like kind of like gives them a pass. You know, yeah, you can do whatever you want. I mean, you know, look at Harvey Weinstein. Look how long was he screwing around with women? You know, before finally someone pulled a plug on him. You know. But yeah, you know, it's just they live in a world that we don't live in. Okay, they live in a world that we don't live in. So they get access to things that we don't have access to. But that's the life, you know. Oh well, us down here, them up there. But I don't see it that way. I think there's a purpose for everybody, you know. And like I said before, you never know when everyone worships the rising star. No one worships the falling star. Okay. So meanwhile, Miranda and Steve are at the store. He's trying on a suit. It's a beautiful suit too. And so, you know, for the event, you know, and he decides he's going to buy it. Of course, Miranda's like, "Hey, I'm going to buy it for you." He's like, No, I'll pay for the suit. I'm going to pay for it. He's like, No, I'll buy you the suit. It's no problem. He's like, No, let me buy the suit. Let me fucking pay for the fucking suit. You know, like he gets upset, you know, because he couldn't afford the suit, but he tries to pay for it. His credit card gets declined. It's a big embarrassment for him. So he's like, "Okay, well, I'll write you a check for this, and then I'll pay you the rest in cash." And, you know, it's just like, you know, and I understand he kind of did that to himself. You know, he walled himself into being in that situation. What I would have done, I've been in this situation before, not where I needed to buy a suit, but my girlfriend wanted to buy me a suit. She just wanted to buy me a couple of suits, you know, which was going to cost a lot of money. And I told her, I was like, "Hey, you know, I can't afford this. You know, I've already got like 2 good suits here. I don't need another one." She's like, "No, but you need one that's this, and you need one that's this, and you need one that's this." I was like, "I can't afford that." She's like, "Well, I'll buy it for you. Don't worry about it." I was like, "No, really?" I said, "No, I'll buy it for you. I will buy it for you because I want you to have it. Okay? I want my man to look nice. I was like, okay, fine, okay. And that all happened before we ever went to the store, okay? Because that's how you're supposed to do it. You don't deal with this stuff in the middle of trying on the clothes, okay? You figure out who's paying for what before you ever go there, okay? That's what would happen in real life, but that's not what happened here. Okay, so he gets all upset about that. Carrie smokes some more. She goes to a party with Big. Okay, some snooty party, I guess, and she knows the woman that's running the party. I guess she's some kind of snobbish, like rich New Yorker, and Big knows her too for some reason. I guess all the rich people hang out with each other. Carrie's there. She's smoking like crazy. She's not allowed to smoke inside this place. The hostess tells Carrie, you can't smoke in here. You got to smoke outside in the patio. So she goes out there. Big doesn't want to go out there, so she's pissed off. She's still pissed off at Big for not telling her I love you, so she's being a bitch. Of course she is. She goes out there and she recognizes there's a guy out there. She recognizes he's one of the caterers. Apparently he's a performance artist, but he's taking a smoke break and he sees Carrie out there and she's smoking too, and they already know each other, so they start talking. Of course, she starts flirting with him, and he tells her, what I always tell somebody when I first see them after a while: hey, you want to see my tattoo down here? Look, let me show you. Like he starts doing that. Like, what the fuck, man? And of course, she's going, oh, yeah, let me see it. Ooh. And he's like, okay, well, she's like, how deep does that tattoo go? He's like, it goes pretty deep. And of course, he starts taking out his stuff, He starts, undoing his zipper and stuff. And she starts going down, looking down, down. Of course, when that happens, the hostess of the party sees that. And she immediately tells Big, because it looks like she's giving him a blowjob. And they're like, oh, God, like that, totally get caught. So, of course, she goes back inside. She sees Big there talking to the snooty woman. And he goes up to her. He's like, so were you giving the caterer a blowjob outside in the patio? And she's like, it wasn't a blowjob. And he's not a caterer. He's a performance artist. He's like, well, whatever you're doing, could you please just stop doing it? She's like, I'm not going to stop doing anything. So Carrie's just in full bitch mode. Okay. He's like, she's like, well, maybe you should have joined me out in the patio instead. He's like, okay, you know what? Maybe we should just go. She's like, no, you go. I'm going to stay and have a good time. Okay. All right. Carrie, you officially entered bitch country right now. If I was your boyfriend, I would have fucking dumped you right there on the fucking spot. How dare you fucking embarrass me like that in front of these people? How dare you? Who the fuck you think you are? I invite you to this party and you're going to embarrass me like that? Like he tried to give her an out. And she's like, no, fuck you. I'm going to stay here, No, fuck you. Fuck you. I would never, ever stay with a woman who disrespected me like that. How dare she? How fucking dare she do that to me in front of all these people? Who the fuck you think you are? Fuck no. I would have dumped her on the spot, but I'm not Big. I didn't write this episode, okay? Some gay guy wrote this episode, not me. Okay, so Big leaves, and Carrie stays there, and she hooks up with that guy. His name is Jeremiah, the performance artist / caterer. She hooks up with him and takes him back to her place, and they're drunk as fuck and smoking cigarettes, and they're singing some hippie song. Oh, what's it called? Charlene, It's not. Well, I can't remember the song anyway, but it's Joy to the World. Joy to the World, yeah. And they get all fucked up. She takes them back to her apartment to fuck. Okay. Great job, Carrie. Got a lot of respect for you now. Lost a lot of respect for you now. Okay, so anyway, Miranda's getting ready for this thing, for the event. Steve shows up. He's not dressed. He's dressed casual. She's like, what happened to the suit? He's like, oh, I returned the suit. I couldn't afford it. And she's like, well, I told you I would buy you the suit. He's like, well, when I was at the store with you, I really felt bad about myself. You need to be with somebody who's on your level, someone who can afford the things that I can't afford. What is it here? She's bored and depressed. He says, I didn't feel good about myself. Okay, it's not the suit. Okay, there's always going to be things that are out of reach for me. They're always going to be out of reach for me, and you deserve to be with someone who can reach those things. Because I can't. So of course Miranda, she's like, oh, so I'm being punished? I'm being punished for being successful? Well, nice knowing you. It slams the door on him, right? I will say this is Cynthia Nixon right here. This was some good acting. This is the best acting I've seen her do. Okay, she really, really sold this scene. Okay, her face her facial expressions, the teary-eyed, all that stuff was on point, okay? So, yes, I don't hate Cynthia Nixon, okay? I think she is talented. She just doesn't show it very much. She's just really good at playing herself, which is a bitch, a man-hating bitch. But in this scene here, she sold it. She really did. So good job, Cynthia Nixon. She really sold that scene, okay? Miranda did come across as someone who was legitimately hurt, you know, but also, like, you know, angry at the same time, you know, that she didn't get her way. But she sold the scene, so I'll give her credit. Credit where credit's due, okay? I don't like her, but credit where credit's due. She did a good job in this scene, okay? And I understand Steve's point of view. You know, he doesn't feel he's good enough for her. I mean, the sex is great and all that, you know, and they get along personally, but, you know, he's never going to have the kind of money that she has, you know, and that bothers him, okay? And that's really something they should have talked about before this whole incident happened. They should have really talked about that, you know, about their social economic statuses. You know, because it doesn't have to be a problem unless someone makes it a problem. You know, Miranda should have known that he can't afford this suit. But she also knew, because of the pizza situation, that he wants to pay for everything himself. You know, he doesn't want to lose his dignity. He wants to keep his pride. That's important to him. And it is. It's important to me, too. So I totally understand that about him, you know. So she should know that, hey, listen, you know, if he's going to, you know, he would never let me buy him a suit. So I'm just going to buy it for him anyway, you know. Because I want him to come with me, and I can afford it. It's not going to hurt me, you know. And if I present it as a gift to him, then he won't see it as charity, you know. But hey, I didn't write this episode. Okay, so anyway, Charlotte's hanging out with Wiley Ford, the movie star, and basically he's got his entourage there. So she's hanging out with his entourage. And they're all just drinking and fucking smoking weed and stuff. They're smoking weed inside the bar. And Charlotte's like, isn't that illegal? He says, yeah, it is. And he says, hey, why don't you go over there and get us some drinks? So she does. Okay, she brings drinks for everybody. And he's like, hey, you know what I want you to do now? I want you to go in the bathroom. I want you to stick your finger in your pussy. And I want you to come back over here. And let me taste it. And she's like, I don't think so. And she gets the fuck out of there. She realizes that she's a groupie. And I think she actually had sex with him, too. I think she actually had sex with him. They didn't show it, but I think she did. But she does draw the line at that. Like, she's not a groupie. Okay? So good for her. She decided to just get up and fucking leave rather than be treated like that, you know? Good for her. Okay. So what do you call it here? So Jeremiah. Okay, so the servant, Harvey's servant, attacks Samantha, the rich guy she was seeing. She's in bed there. She like throws a used condom wrapper at her, and she throws it back, and they get into a tug of war over the blanket, and the servant falls down, and Harvey comes out of the bathroom like, what's going on here? And she's like, oh, Miss Steady Woman, she knocked me down. You know, and Samantha's like, no, that's not what happened at all. And Harvey looks at Samantha like, you woman, get the hell out of here. Don't you ever treat my servant that way. So much for him. 86, that asshole. Meanwhile, Carrie wakes up all hungover to a phone call. It's Biggs calling her. He's like, hey, listen, I know what you're pissed off about, but I have to do it in my own time. The same thing he told her in season 1. I've got to do this relationship thing on my own time. You know I love you, but it gets me in trouble whenever I say it. You know? And meanwhile, Carrie's got her hand over Jeremiah's mouth the whole time. So it's like he doesn't hear that he's there, you know? And he's got a good point, you know? He's got to do it on his own time too. That's all he's ever been telling Carrie since they first started going out. I got to do this on my own time. Quit pushing me. I'm not ready yet. That's their biggest problem. Anyway. So Carrie realized she did not have sex with this guy. She never told Big about it, but she says, but everything before I love you doesn't count. That's what she says. I think that's bullshit. Okay, but anyway, so that was Sex and the City, episode 10, season 2. And I'll be back next time with the next episode review. Thank you for watching.